You know, if we see first challenge of corruption in administrative perspective, first is the problem of that the officers, they don't have the clarity of their role, right? You know, many officers who join administrative system have very hard have it's very hard for them to understand what is the role and responsibility given to them, right? What they do is that they focus on learning from the prevailing culture, and their orientation is, if you see, obeying with the superiors. So what they can get from the system and not what they can contribute to the system, right? And hence we need to have, hence this, you know, culture, this culture of abiding superiors without questioning the nature of order, right? This is very venomous for the, you know, administrative perspective, and very venomous to eradicate corruption. Hence, you know, it thus necessitates a holistic approach that focuses on identifying, nurturing, and sustaining the values, right? Appropriate values. And this can be achieved by, you know, a strengthening the organizational structure through improvements in the mechanism of recruitment, training, appraisal, etc., to ensure that only honest individuals with progressive thinking hold the position of authority. Very important. B, organizational culture. You know, if you take swift and exemplary action on the people who are found with inappropriate behavior, and the culture of the organization will improve swiftly, okay, and everybody will start adopting the ethically appropriate habits. And third is the conduct rules and the code of ethics. Increase the ambit of the, you know, appropriate behavior under the conduct rule, and clearly mention the behaviors which is a big no, right, which is not appropriate, clearly mentioned in the conduct rules. Secondly, code of ethics. You know, what is the fundamental expectation? As we know, you know, people they expect what to get from the service, from the system, right? They expect to take revenge from someone who has done, you know, or who has behaved badly, right? And not what they contribute. So what should a civil aspirant, servant should contribute, it should also be written clearly in the code of ethics, right?
The second challenge of administrative corruption is the political interference. Now, if we see administration is considered subordinate to polity, this is because politicians, the political system is directly represented by the people, right? And hence, the administrative officer, they face transfer, suspension, and promotion because they are subordinate to the political system. And hence, to tackle the problem of transfer, suspension, and promotion, and to seek stability in personal and professional lives, what administrative officers do, they are involved in political patronage. They seek political patronage, and the political patronage means you don't question the orders. There is an unquestioning loyalty, right? And many a times the politician, you know, furthers the political agenda via administration. That is a big no-no, right? And hence to tackle this problem of stability, grant officers stability and security of tenure. Secondly, decision by political superior can be cross-validated through multi-layered body. It can be a civic body, civil services body, especially in the sensitive matters. If we see what is the third challenge of corruption, which administrative perspective, is the monopolistic nature of administrative functions. Now, this doesn't provide any compelling incentive for improving the performance of the civil servants or staying honest, right? This in turn leads to the public office. It becomes an extension of private space for pursuing personal agenda. Okay, and hence, in order to curb this, we need to downsize the role of the state by, involving more and more of disinvestments, more and more of public-private partnership, and secondly, developing indicators that enable the assessment of productivity and sustainability of public service, right? Develop indicators that a particular public servant is doing great of a particular field, a particular state's public servant are doing great as compared to others based on the indicators, right? And hence we need to have a public service model code, right? This says that promote competition between the public servants by developing some indicators, and based on the competition give rewards, give promotion, and based on the poor indicators demote some public servants who are not following the public servant model code, right? So that would compel the performance, and this will help them stay honest, right? And the fourth challenge of corruption in administrative perspective of centralization and discretion, excessive centralization and excessive discretion. The problem with excessive centralization is that it creates delays in decision, right? Because there are many nodes through which that particular file of that particular decision has to be made. And at every node there is a high possibility of corruption, right? For example, a delay can be there because the first three officers, the first three levels, they were present. The fourth officer was not present. He's on a leave, or he's on the field, not on the desk. And hence, in order to help or get the signatures fast, what the people do is involve in corruption. They involve in bribes, right? Moreover, the unregulated discretion increases the chance of abuse of authority. For example, if a person is not putting his signature, since there is a lots of discretion about the signating time when the person will be signing, right? So this discretion leads to abuse of authority. Okay, I will tell how this discretion can be handled, and even this puts a lot of pressure on the honest individuals to toe the line of the 10 dishonest individuals, right? Now, if we see how to fight these all issues, the first is, let's standardize the norms. If a person goes to a police station and the person in charge of writing the FIR, lodging the complaint, is not doing so, immediately standardize the norm that
or he's taking time telling come after half an hour we are having lunch. We can standardize the norms that immediately the FIR has to be written in 10 minutes, right? Secondly, so that is what is standardizing the norm is. Else you will be penalized. The person in charge of writing the FIR will be penalized. Secondly, human interface should be decreased, right? E-governance and IT-based intervention should be put more and more. For example, if earlier there was proper tendering process and every individual, every company involved in tendering, they used to bribe the officers. What can be done with AI based intervention, score can be given to each of the company, and that score, based on that score, that company will be chosen, right? So earlier tendering was given, now e-tendering process has started, so nobody bribes the tender officers, right? And at last, sensitive decisions that should not be entrusted to few individuals, that it must be not the few individuals' discretion based upon, it must be a multi-member committee through which these sensitive decisions are taken, right? This is because the more the members are from different background and different committee, different religion, less chances are there that they will collude and make a common decision, right? And hence interesting decisions, sensitive decisions like constructing road on ecological area, right? So not to be entrusted to individual discretion. He could be bribed easily, or he can be somehow related to that decision, right? And hence when we involve multi-member committee from different background, different regions, different languages, different religion, different groups, right? It is the less chances are very less that decision might be influenced. At present, the disciplinary action against officer is either weak or excessively slow in operation. This emboldens the dishonest officer, right? And they believe that they are immune to any mechanism of accountability. Article 311 of the Constitution says that it safeguards civil servants from arbitrary misuse of discretion by providing that they cannot be removed by an authority subordinate to that which appointed them. However, the real intent of the Article 311 is significantly compromised when dishonest officers use it to delay and escape justice, right? And in this regard, it is required that where an officer has been found guilty of wrongdoing, the mechanism of punishments are swift, impartial, and exemplary, SIE, right? And this can be achieved by reviewing and rationalizing constitutional and legislative provisions to ensure a balance between accountability and autonomy. And second, strengthening the internal vigilance by providing stringent guidelines for time-bound and unbiased departmental inquiries, right? So that was all the challenges of corruption, right from the role clarity, second is the political interference, third is the monopolistic nature, fourth is centralization and discretion, and the fourth is disciplinary action, right? That's all. Thank you.
Fifth,